Here we go. Oh god, it's messed up. What happened to my layout? Okay, I can't fix it now. Right, I had planned to play before. And he goes knight f6. Okay. That's not a good sign. I have had very poor results here as of late. Okay, I'm playing e5. No debate there. But I have had very poor results. Okay, the sentence I had started was that I had very poor results in this opening. So I figured he has prepped for this, but okay, he's just screwing around because I'm an opening guy and he can do anything he wants against me as long as he doesn't get out prepped. Or so will his plan be. Oh boy. What did I do to deserve this? Wait, this is wrong. Just pause this, okay. Disable preview. Okay. Now I can't see my stream anymore, so if something messes up, I'm not reading the chat and not seeing anything else, so who knows what's going on here. And what did I do to deserve this? Why am I getting trolled by Erin? Oh, the music is way too loud. Better, hopefully. Also, as I have a real board in front of me, I will probably not be drawing a lot of arrows, which means this will be an even worse content stream than usual. No arrows, no chat reading, and I don't know how much talking. But I don't know, I figured I might as well stream, why not? If nobody wants to watch, nobody has to watch. Okay, yeah, there's not actually anything to think about. Other than, do I go f4 or not? Do I just go knight f3? Am I the Fressinet to Erin's Carlsen? I mean, f4 can't be wrong, right? Just gain space. And ask Black what he's doing. It's like an Austrian attack, where Black is down 3 tempi or something. So if someone is curious about my prep work, against e5, I was spitballing playing the King's Gambit, because Erin always plays bishop c5 there, which is a really bad move. So like even the King's Gambit is a good opening. if the opponent plays bad moves in reply. And the idea is just some knight f3, c3, and eventually d4 will come. Or you can take here. Black is just sort of in a silly position. No idea why you would do this. But okay, he has played it in almost all of his games, so it was a reasonably safe bet. He also plays knight off sometimes. When I looked at both 6h3 and 6f3, I play both of those, and I wasn't actually quite sure which of those two I would go for. Not gonna uncover too many secrets here. 6 bishop g5, I didn't really want to play against him because he doesn't have a lot of games in the database in this and seems to be playing random lines every time, so that's not something I can just prep. The card he plays, there I was thinking about playing the knight decline, which won't tell anyone other than the TCL members perhaps anything, but yeah. And Erin memed me already before the game. He created a study called Secret IsaVulpes Prep. And it was neither unlisted nor privated, so I could just access it and like see that he made this study called that. And he had looked up some weird line in the French whenever, where after queen g4 he would castle. I was pretty sure it was a meme, but not entirely. So I spent some time looking at that while being honest enough to tell Erin that if it wasn't a meme, I had access to his study. So, like, not that sneaky, but I'm sneaky enough to have looked at which line he cooked up anyway. But yeah, it was a meme. I warned him and he replied that it was a joke, which is good enough. And yeah, now he played knight f6 and I was a bit concerned because here after knight d5, d4, d6, I played the main line with knight f3 and I used to be very fit in this and won like all my games with white, and then I stopped refreshing it, so now I basically know nothing at all anymore about the Alekhine and had pretty poor results in Blitz as of late in it, so I was planning to refresh my study again, but haven't done so yet. So when this appeared, I was pretty concerned and figuring, okay, I guess I'm playing the exchange or some shit, because I currently can't play the main line, and I'm doubly not playing it against someone who has prepped against me. But okay, he's hardcore memeing with knight g8, so got to live with that. And apparently he's out of book on move 4 in a shitty position because this is not a good opening. But if it was a joke, I shall accept this being a joke. Bishop f5. Looks legal. Looks legal, but that's pretty much all I can say about it. Doesn't feel like I'm threatened in any way. Just normal development should be fine. Even bishop d3 is probably good. Knight f3. Why not? Only concern I have that at some point he plays c5 and sort of dissolves my center. Like perhaps de5, fe5, c5. But even there I can just play c3, I think. And knight c6, bishop e3 should always have sufficient defenders. It's like a French, except the second knight of his, which should be jumping to f5 to charge at d4 again, is far away from that, and there's a bishop on f5 instead. So yeah, d4 should always be sufficiently protected. I just go knight f3, followed by bishop d3, trade those bishops, get my queen active, castle short, bishop e3, either knight c3 or pawn c3, and then crush through in the center somewhere. Question is whether I have something more direct. Some ideas of going c3 early and then playing some queen b3, as black has developed his light squared bishop quite early. A queen b3, bishop c4 stuff could be an idea. Even g4 could actually be legal here. Just keep pushing. So maybe I could start with knight c3 to cover the e4 square. And if black does nothing, I'm going g4 next. And yeah, he's sort of falling apart. The issue is that he always has e6 and I can't actually go g4 because of queen h4 check. And if I go knight f3 to cover that before I go g4, then the g4 square isn't covered anymore. So then g4, bishop g4. So it's a bit of a question what sort of setup I want at this point. I could go for all-out offense with some sort of h3, perhaps g4. I could just develop normally with knight f3, bishop d3, short castles. Whether I want the pawn on c3 or the knight there is also a question. And bishop e3, of course. Wait, I'm not actually shown to be streaming? Am I shown to be streaming? Can't tell. Let me just edit my stream info. I missed this. Oh, maybe I just have to refresh. Okay, I just had to refresh. Never mind. Normally, like below my name, on the Lichess page, it says IsaVulpes is streaming, and it didn't say that for me, but it was just because I hadn't refreshed. I should really just be making a random move quickly because I can't determine anything anyway. Knight f3 is always gonna be right. Just play that. Who cares about anything? I wasted a lot of time because I like to maximize in the opening, but I shouldn't be maximizing here. I should just be playing normal moves at decent pace to avoid getting into time trouble at some point later. Impossible for me to figure out which plan is the best anyway, so I should just be making random moves quickly. And knight f3 can't exactly be a bad move. I think I like bishop d3 next, just to get the light squared bishops off the board with tempo basically, as then I'm already threatening stuff like queen b5 check, targeting b7. So that's something you would have to worry about. And in general, it's a good idea to trade off the one developed black piece. Of course, he isn't forced to take on d3, could go queen d7 or something, but then bishop d3 is obviously a good move as well, just developing. And I can perhaps follow up with knight d2, knight e4 or the likes at some point, saying, okay, if you don't want to trade the bishops, I don't have to either. Oh, he played a move. That did not make a sound. Let me increase the sound volume, because I didn't actually hear that Erin made a move. Actually, I'm not sure which pronouns are correct. I just said he, I believe. And someone else has written she before. I have no clue. Let's use they, I guess. Poor habit. Too many men in chess, so I always say he. Yeah, black is just not developing. Play natural moves. Life should be good. I'm not even sure what opening this resembles. A French where black managed to get his bishop out of the pawn chain, but it cost him 3 random moves to do so. Something. No real idea what's going on here. Okay. Bishop takes, queen b5 is threatened, so I don't know, maybe he just plays knight c6 or something. But I always just castle, go bishop e3. Black takes so long to get anywhere. Knight e7, knight d5 is already sort of terrible because I just push c4 as well. And he doesn't even get to d5. Maybe I have to play a3 first to prevent knight b4 annoyances, but that's a detail I can worry about later. So yeah, d5 isn't even an outpost for him, which means the knight sort of has to go to f5, I suppose. But it's all very far in the future. Well, while I have pretty natural development. Man, I really should have 45 minutes on the clock. Just threw away 8 minutes for nothing, as per usual. One of these days I'm gonna learn it. That's a joke, I'm never gonna learn it. I do hope the mic volume and stuff are all okay. Seems to be fine from what I can tell by looking at the OBS window. And the encoding error isn't popping up either, so I hope everything is working out. But if not, I don't know. If not everything is alright, please ping me on Discord or Slack or something, as I'm not watching the Twitch chat. Thanks, Foracle. Okay, yeah, for the people who came late, in case you're wondering why I'm not drawing arrows or whatever, it's because in front of me I have a real board and I'm staring at the real board, as that's far more comfortable to me than the PC screen. And, well, that means I can't really draw arrows. Knight h6. Okay, I didn't see that coming, and it's a very good move, obviously. Now his knight gets to f5 pretty quickly without blocking in his dark squared bishop. Yeah, nothing else to say about it. Next move is gonna take on d3 and then gonna play knight f5. Everything is fine for him. Well, fine. His position is still bad, but it could be worse. That also means that I'm probably not playing bishop e3 anytime soon, which is something I would like to do in theory. But that just invites knight f5. Or should I be playing bishop e3, so after knight f5 I have bishop f2? Because once the knight is on f5, I can't play bishop e3 later anymore. Well, before it lands there, I have all the chances. Worthy consideration. What other candidates do I have to bishop e3 or perhaps short castles? Knight c3 looks reasonably natural as well, of course. If he takes on d3, I take back, he goes knight f5. Well, he can't go knight f5 there, I think, because I still have queen b5 check. So he has to address that first. So it's perhaps not even impossible for me to go h3 here. And the idea of h3 is just he takes my bishop, I take with the queen. If he goes knight f5, I go queen b5 check. Can take on b7, which wins a pawn. I'm not sure how good it is actually if he goes knight e7, but let's pretend it's good. And then I can always just go g4 later. Just throw all my pawns up the board because black has nothing developed. It looks very reasonable to me actually. Like obviously it's a bit of a shaky statement to say I'm gonna go h3, g4, whatever in the opening. While black has basically no piece developed. And I still have the option of castling long, although admittedly that takes a few moves. So then the question is, do I even need h3? If I just say I go knight c3 here, if he takes on d3, I take back, he goes knight takes f5, I go g4, pushing his knight back, then I never needed h3. If he doesn't take on d3, then I'm a bit more flexible. Haven't committed to h3 yet. Maybe I can go knight e4 instead. Maybe bishop e3. And let him show me what he got in store first. I said him again. Sorry. Sorry, Erin. Sorry. I apologize. Too used to saying him. Oh boy. Yeah, just play knight c3. Normal developing moves. The only alternative that to bishop d3 that could do anything is knight g4, but it doesn't seem to be doing anything. Else there are no threats. In the unlikely case that my pawn on d4 does become weak, I can always go knight c3 to e2, stabilize it that way. It's also a common method from the French. And yeah, what else should there be? You might go bishop e7 and threaten bishop h4, but it's sort of nonsense. So yeah, I guess I'm just continuing my normal development and asking myself again why I am burning all my time. But okay, it's the way I am. It's the way I always will be. Naturally, the position is currently not super concrete, so black has a lot of options. But none of those seem to bother me much. Like knight c6 is a legal move, but why would I care about knight c6? It attacks two defended pawns. Whatever, I can just continue my play and go like bishop e3. Worry about the rest later. Actually, after bishop e3, maybe then knight g4 could be an idea. Then bishop f2 doesn't exist anymore. Or, well, it exists, but I'm still losing my bishop, and bishop g1 looks a bit silly. It might actually not be all bad. It looks very silly, but the knight on g4 also looks silly. I can go like knight g5 myself. Queen attacks the knight on g4. Something. Who knows? Maybe the streaming is pretty good for me, because I actually have to think about what my opponent is doing, so there's not just dead silence during my opponent's turn. Normally I wouldn't even be sitting at the PC right now, but like walking around or some shit, or tabbing to Discord. But now that I'm streaming, I actually have to look at the board. So while this distracts me quite a bit to talk instead of just think, it does have its upsides. So maybe I should try that over the board. Just narrate the entire game. I'm sure my opponents won't mind. It reminds me I want to. I'm still searching for my harmonica. One thing I promise on both my YouTube channel and on my Twitch channel is that I own a harmonica. And no, I'm not actually sure anymore whether that's true, because I've been looking for it for some hours and I can't find it. So maybe I'm not actually owning one anymore, which would be quite sad. Not that I can play it. I just have one. Or had. Something. Really no idea where it is. Presumably I deposited it in some safe location, so I would never lose it, and then I forgot the location. As it goes. What can I say about this position? You might have noticed that I didn't actually talk much about the position, just talked about random stuff, and yeah, that's basically what I do. He can play g6. Haha, he's not gonna play g6. Bishop e7 is legal and looks the most natural, just continuing development while staying somewhat flexible. Also an option is to take on e5 and then go bishop b4 perhaps. In very classic French style, but now I even have bishop d2. Do I have bishop d2? Then the bishop on d3 hangs. So maybe that's an idea. de5, fe5, bishop b4. Knight c6 does happen. Okay. I said that I wouldn't really care about this. And then I got to the question, what happens if I go bishop e3 here and they play knight g4. And I was saying that it's not actually that ridiculous to go bishop g1. It might even not be ridiculous to just go bishop d2 there. Oh wait, that doesn't work again because of the bishop on d3. So okay, bishop d2 is ridiculous. Bishop g1 might not be, because I'm also coming with h3 g4 afterwards. So my bishop is temporarily misplaced, but it can go to e3 back shortly afterwards. And again, then not a lot happened. If I go h3 here, black plays bishop e7, I go bishop e3. It's the same as if I went bishop e3, they play knight g4, I go bishop g1, they go bishop e7, I go h3, knight h6 back, and bishop e3 back. It's like same position with knight on h6, pawn on h3, bishop on e7, bishop on e3. So not something that should worry me too much. And obviously bishop e3 is the most natural developing move in the position. Are there concrete threats? There is knight b4. Is knight b4 a concrete threat? Do I care about it? What happens if I take on f5 here? I assume they take back with the knight and I go g4 and they are forced into either knight h6 or knight e7. Okay, also looks good. By the way, I'm burning my time again, in case you didn't notice. Well, if that's what I plan to do, then it makes more sense to start with bishop e3, no? Bishop e3, knight b4, bishop takes f5, knight takes f5, bishop f2 with g4 coming next. Or there I might not have time anymore for g4 since h5 might be played to stabilize the knight on f5. Looks possible. Does weaken the g5 square. I'm not sure how easily exploitable that is. There's also like bishop e3, bishop takes d3, queen d3, knight b4 then. Because there queen b5 check, c6. Wait, no. There queen b5 check and the knight is hanging. So knight c6 is forced. And then I have queen b7 and rook b8 isn't even legal. And queen d7 is also not legal. So okay, that would just fall apart entirely. That doesn't work at all. So they can't take on d3. Knight g4 didn't bother me. And there's some other tricky tactics, whether sacrifice on e5 or d4. Not that I can see. So I guess I'm going bishop e3. I'm worrying about the rest later. Knight b4 doesn't bother me much. Knight is also misplaced there. I hope. So I have a pretty rock solid position. Can still castle to both sides. And black still has issues with their development. The knight on c6 blocks an eventual c5 push. The knight on h6 is out of play. If it gets to f5, it's in danger of getting pushed back by g4. Okay, so perhaps bishop d3, queen d3, knight f5. Wait, no, the other way around. Knight b4, bishop f5, knight f5. Will they also go just g4? Oh no, there's always knight h4 after g4. That was my concern. I thought I was pushing the knight back. Right, now I have the line again. Knight b4, bishop f5, knight f5. It takes my bishop in e3, which I don't want to part with, so I would play bishop f2. Maybe I can do arrows for this. Knight b4, bishop takes, knight takes. Bishop drops back to f2. They go bishop e7. Now if I push g4 as planned, they might be able to go knight h4, as I'm covering it twice. And it's also covered twice by black. If I just take, queen takes, I might not be that happy. Just trading off all my pieces. Of course I don't have to take on h4. Can just let it sit there. Go like queen e2 and say, okay, you are free to take. Then I wasted one tempo, but I retained my bishop. And long castles is coming next. But still, it's a somewhat of concern. Well, nothing I can do about it, so it's perhaps not a concern actually. Whatever. If I can't do anything about it, it's whatever. What might be possible is after knight f5, bishop f2, on bishop e7, I start with h4. Since then my rook is in play as well. I've covered h4 3 times, and then g4 might come, but then there's h5 again, I think. Okay. So maybe none of this. What was I thinking again about? Takes h5. That's something I considered. It prevents g4 altogether, and then I sort of just forgot coming to a conclusion about that move. I can't remember saying anything about it. Just h5 exists, it might also weaken the g5 square, and then I just sort of stopped. Anyway, I should take this, I guess. There isn't really anything else that makes sense. Yeah, just take. And drop the bishop back. There are no tricks. No tricks. Okay, yeah. I sort of expect h5, since I sort of forgot. That would be a thing. And h5 does happen. Hey, I can predict moves. Sadly, I didn't do anything about it. So yeah, the knight on f5 is now quite good. And I'm not quite sure what I am actually doing. Maybe just queen e2 long castles and whatever. Queen e2 threatens queen b5 check. So black has something to do first. Black has to do something first. And after they have prevented b5 check, I can castle long and then maybe push d5 or something, just break open the center, as I will be out of the center and the black still has king and queen there. So breaking it open should always be hugely in my favor. Sounds good. Does it? Queen e2, other issues. Can take on e5, I take back, whatever. Then the knight on b4 is protected, so maybe after queen b5 there's just c6 at that point, since c2 also hangs. But after queen e2 I can always just long castle. I'm not really forced into playing anything to b5. Queen e2 c5 might not be illegal, but might also be really stupid, since in worst case I can just take it and go rook d1 or something, then castle short, and again the center was opened with all his pieces still in the center, and he doesn't really want to castle short anymore with his pawn on h5. I would assume so anyway. All my stuff is defended 10 times over. Queen e2. So yeah, as said, queen b5 is sort of a threat when I'm attacking three things at once. So knight c6 would be forced, and then I can take on b7, and rook b8 isn't even legal because the knight on c6 is also hanging, and queen d7 isn't legal because the rook would be hanging. So after queen takes here, they would have to play like knight to e7 or some shit, which isn't great. And as also said, I can just castle long, and then my long-term, short-term, whatever term plan is to push d5 and say I'm taking everything in the center, putting a rook to e1 and barreling down the two central open files, which might be good. In general, it's nice to put the queen on a light square, because we just traded light squared bishops, so all of these are mine for the moment. If we, for example, imagine that he plays like bishop e7 castles, then something like knight g5, also directly targets the king side, the queen is quite nice, sticking to the light squares. While if I had gone to d2, she's just sort of staring at pawns. d5. Now, if I go queen b5 check, there is c6, since the knight is defended. Makes sense. And also now, if I castle long, etc., whatever, I can't actually break the center open anymore. That's a bit mean. So now we have a proper French, the Steinitz structure, except the knight somehow teleported to f5, where it normally can't go at all. And I should be like 10 tempi ahead, I guess. But I also traded light squared bishops, which is hugely in black's favor, of course. Normally in the Steinitz, all these endings, after we just trade everything, are massively in white's favor, because black is settled with a bishop on c8. Well, here, Steinitz French I'm talking about, of course, not like Steinitz Ruy Lopez, in case someone is confused. So yeah, this is a proper French structure, something I play with white standard, but yeah, normally black is settled with the bishop on c8, while my own bishop is quite strong, and now my bishop is gone, and his as well, which is in his favor. And I assume that cost him a bunch of tempi, but I'm not actually seeing them really. Knight on f5 is way better than it would be on d7. I guess it's sort of a point that he can't push c5, because I just take it. So they have, sorry. Again, it's too automatic, I apologize. Where was I? They don't really have a pawn break right now. Like f6 is suicide, and c5 I just take. So that's something. Question is still how I plan to break. The only breaks I have is some g4 f5, but that's hard to set up. Or c4, but then I probably don't want to castle long. Do I want to castle long in general? I've used up almost half my time and we are at move 10. That's great. Fucking hell. I'm so bad at this. Where do I want to castle? Decide. I want to castle... Who knows? It's not deciding. Two my plans are something like knight d1, just go c3 after. Then knight e3, trade off that knight on f5. And attack. Actually, maybe I can do that just here. Like knight d1 is a good move, right? Why wouldn't it be? And then I can worry about where I castle later. Still keeping the option open. Do I want to spend 2 tempi to trade off a knight on f5? Which might not bother me at all if I could instead like castle short and go c4. Well, then I still have to move the knight. And there isn't really a better square than d1, is there? I could go a3, force the knight back from b4 and do something with that. Like maybe queen b5 then. Also doesn't look great. No, knight d1, knight e3 looks like a natural, normal, whatever rerouting to me. And I still keep my options open, what I plan to do with my center. Maybe I don't. Yeah, whatever, go knight d1. I don't know what else to play. I don't really want to castle yet. The bishop on f2 has no squares, the queen is positioned well enough. I don't want to play a3 if I'm gonna play c3. And I don't want to castle yet to not determine my king's location that early. Maybe. are the threats. c5, I just take, not a threat. f6, I just kill them, not a threat. b6 followed by c5, or like rook c8 or something, but then if c5 comes I can always go c3. And for 1 I'm pushing the knight back. For 2 I'm stabilizing. Yeah, whatever. This is a weird game. I think I have no interest in c3. I think I'm just gonna castle short and go c4. I don't even think I have an interest in the knight on f5. Do I? Who knows? If I want to go c4, I definitely should be playing a3 first. Else there's c4, d takes c, queen takes c, and knight d5. That's not where I want to let that stupid knight from b4 go. So a3 would have to be played first to put the knight back, then c4. And I don't know, break something somewhere. It doesn't really feel anymore like I actually have a huge advantage. So I'm not sure what I did wrong. Everything I did felt pretty natural. Maybe I could have done something against this knight f5, h5 idea. Gone for an earlier takes f5, knight f5 and g4. Just kicking the knight out from that square. And then I have directly the pawn break f5 to follow. It might have been a lot better. Alas, too late. Alright, what I should be doing is 45 lead chess. Wow, that's a lot of games which are currently ongoing. Bear with me for a second. Where are we? Pairings. Control F2, famous to forking. There we are leading 4-2. So I wanna open this game. And I'm not actually looking at it, but I just want to notice when it ends. So I know whether I have to play for a win or something. Wait, I never have to play for a win. Okay, so the only thing I'm checking is whether I'm allowed to lose. Okay, that's not actually worth anything. I'm not gonna lose. Oh well, I'm not gonna play for a loss in any case, so it's a bit pointless. I just noticed that my music stopped. Why did my music stop? Video pause, continue watching. The stupid auto pause on YouTube. Since when has that been paused? I never notice when I have like background music going. I just tune out and forget about it after a while. Okay, this song really sucks. Let me skip it.
Joko, soll ich dir für unseren Surftrip auch einen neuen mehr holen? Eins aus der Vorsaison?
I have no ad block in Edge, so I have to listen to ads. Why is the volume knob so tiny? Okay, well, yeah. Queen d7. Black plans to castle long, I assume this means. It is quite logical. Don't really want to castle short after playing h5 and can't really keep the king in the center forever. After black has castled long, they might even have f6 as a pawn break in the center, which is also quite useful. So yeah, the issue is I'm not really making any progress here. Feels like for the past 5 moves I've shuffled somewhat sensibly, but I've not ever actually gotten anywhere close to creating a threat. Black is just slowly unraveling. Maybe I was a bit too relaxed. On the other hand, I spent a lot of time, so maybe I wasn't relaxed at all, and I'm just bad. Sadly, not unrealistic, this scenario. So if we go a3 now, maybe they go knight a6? What would that accomplish? Maybe they won't go knight a6. Maybe they will just go knight c6. And then I can go c4 and ask, do you really want to castle long? My own king is still in the center as well. And then after dc queen c4 there would at least be queen d5, which is a bit annoying. This is not a good game to be streaming. I should have streamed something against someone where I knew what they would play in the opening, so I could pretend I know something and don't just study. Here I'm at the end of my wits and basically playing poor chess, I'm afraid. Am I concerned about anything happening on the king side? Not really. Do I want to go knight e3? Also not really. I don't know what's happening. What? Oh, I should mute this tab. I was really confused because I was positive it was my move and then it suddenly made a move noise. That was like in the Jero against Lichuk game, or board 8, which is going on at the same time.
Euro in die weltgrößten Unternehmen. Ohne Kommission, ohne Gebühren, nur mit Trading 212. Kaufe Aktien mit nur einem Klick. Oder leg dein Geld mit Autoinvest an.
No, I don't want to kaufe Aktien. I hate these ads. Yeah, I don't know, I don't have time. I'm just gonna play a3, push the knight back, go c4 and pray that that was a good idea to do. After long castles, they are attacking 1, 2, 3, 4 times. And defenders 1, 2, 3 times. And I can't defend it the 4th time. So I'm just losing a pawn then. Oh, that's great. So I guess I'm not going a3, c4. Isa, please. Why am I like this? How concerned am I about issues on the king side? Unconcerned. Should I just castle? Let's just castle. Great. Maybe there is some queen a4 stuff. Oh no, I just have b3, I'm stupid. For some reason I thought like b3 covers this, but then they can still take on a2, but oh yeah, that drops a queen, so I guess queen a5 does nothing. So I expect black to castle long now. And then I'm gonna play a3, b4, c4. Probably lose a pawn somewhere. Maybe go knight e3. And pretend all of this was a great idea. Which it presumably wasn't. I'm not even sure I'm better right now. Okay, should be. But I'm not sure. And it's a very depressing thought. As we are. Move 13. And the first two moves by black were knight f6 and knight g8. So apparently Erin is so much better than me at this game that in 10 moves they can counterbalance 2 moves. So, by that assumption, I'm completely lost around move 25. Let's see whether I can manage that. Too confusing. Why are there so many ads? I hate this. I gotta get some YouTube ad blocker for Microsoft Edge. Or I could play the music in Opera. But the second browser, I think, always uses up more resources than like... Sorry, I interrupted my sentence in the middle because I really like this song. Good vibes. I thought this playlist would mostly just be some odd background music, but this is like a real track. And I'm a fan. Oh, I should look at the board perhaps, since I'm out of time by move 13 and my position isn't even great. So c3 or c4 and a3 maybe, and knight e3 maybe, and rook fc1 maybe. So sort of point remains that black doesn't really have a pawn break. Don't really want to go rook c8 because then you can't castle long anymore. If you don't go rook c8, and like b6 you also don't want to do because you can't really castle long after that. And if you don't do b6 or rook c8, then you can't play c5, which in turn means the only real pawn break is f6. Black can only play f6 to bother me at all. And perhaps I'm not in a hurry either. Just go knight e3, trade those knights, go a3, go rook fc1. then slowly push c4. Or perhaps even rook ac1 and rook fd1. Parking the rooks here and here to support c4 better. We do go knight a6, now c5 is possible, but now the king is still in the center. And now they can't attack the d4 pawn that easily anymore. So if I push c4 now, if they take and I take back, the knight has no inroads anymore. And c5 is still legal. If I can just take this, go knight e3, put something on d1. Looks good. Might not even have to play knight e3. Maybe I can play knight c3 there and bring the knight to an actually useful square. Like after a trade, I really want to go knight c3, so I have like knight e4 type business. If I go c4 here and they directly play c5 as a counterblow type thing, then I can just take on d5. There's another fucking ad. Oh god. This worked fine until now. Why is it suddenly playing an ad after every song? Good god. Where was I? c4, c5, cd5, queen d5, knight c3 does not look viable at all for black. c4, c5, cd5, cd4. And I can keep taking on e6, attack the queen. And then take on d4 afterwards, and I win a pawn. c4, dc4, queen c4. And yeah, the pawn is defended 3 times, attacked 2 times, so it takes plenty time for black to do anything. And I have time for knight c3, whatever stuff. c4, dc4, queen c4, queen d5. Maybe I can just take on d5. Queen d5, knight c3, c6. Or maybe I can give like queen a4 check. And then follow up with knight c3 or something. All looks like it should work out. And at least not be bad. So I guess I'm doing this for now. My main part of my development is completed. So I'm pushing while I can. So knight on h6 is really out of play for the moment, so I have like a window of 1 move to do something before they play c5. And c4 feels like doing something. I hate my clock so much. So if I keep up this pace, I have used up 2/3 of my time by move 14. So I can make another 7 moves. Stellar. Let's hope I checkmate before move 21, else I'm gonna lose on time. Please nobody ever use my time management as a positive example for anything. Here I take this. And with queen d5 I'm not quite sure yet what I'm doing. I might just take and say okay, whatever. I might also not take. Maybe instead of taking, at least I should be going like rook c1. So I let them take, at least then I'm targeting something on c5. Taking 3 times the c5 square, so after queen c4, rook c4, c5 would still be unavailable, which means the knight on a6 would still be unavailable.
Just a bunch of kids that are screen
And then if they castle long or something, the light squares are really weak, so I might have some knight g5
not in the moment
when they have issues defending the f7 pawn.
Because like how in a generation that lives online,
More fucking ads. I apologize. Also for the swearing. It's upsetting. This all worked on the last stream, but there I had like Opera, which apparently has an inbuilt ad blocker. So I didn't know this is like 1 ad per song playlist. I haven't used YouTube without an ad blocker in like 15 years. So I am unaware of where ads are or aren't or whatever. And to just open this in Edge instead, because Firefox is quite laggy for reasons I don't need to talk about again. But yeah, during the last stream I did, which used Opera, I had some encoding issues. Which caused some hiccups, and I assumed it was because Opera is quite resource intensive, uses like twice as much resources as Microsoft Edge does, so I switched back to Edge. But in the past on my Edge streams I hadn't been playing music, so I wasn't aware that this would cause hassles. Maybe the ad blocker is what. Okay, just knight b4 back. I shall take this as validation that c4 had a good timing. If I go knight c3 now, they have knight d5. If I don't go knight c3 now, they still have knight d5. I don't like knight d5. But okay, there's not a lot I can do about it. I can then take on d5 with my own knight, but it's silly. So I'm not gonna do that. If I don't do that, I have to worry quite a bit about my pawn on f4, which is sort of undefended and attacked. So I guess knight c3, knight d5 and g3, and say I don't care about h4, which is true, I think. Now, if I can't stop knight d5 anyway, maybe I shouldn't bother going knight c3. I could just go rook c1 here. Keep knight c3 in reserve. I'm not sure for what reason. Maybe it's not stupid. Sort of threatening the c7 pawn, which is of course defended by knight d5, but then so maybe then I can target something somewhere. Who knows? I could also go knight e3 here, but okay. How much sense does that make? The point of knight e3 would be that they take on e3, I take bishop takes e3, knight d5, then I go bishop d2, and I have rerouted the bishop once more. I don't know if that's a good point. Probably not. I sort of like going rook c1. Do I? If they ever take on c3, I would ideally take back with the b pawn. So I don't like rook c1 at all. For knight c3 they have knight c2, but just rook c1 there and the knight can't go anywhere. It can go to e3 and fork me. Oh. Okay, that's a problem. So I guess I'm not playing knight c3 because of knight c2 and knight e3. Good to know. Then I guess I am playing rook c1. Because I don't really see what else to do. Knight e3 would still be legal. And still be sort of pointless. Could play some completely different move. Like knight g5. As the knight isn't doing a whole lot. Then after long castles, I might wish it back on f3 since my d4 pawn is hanging. Okay, let's go rook c2. I'm so terrible. Unbelievable. Is black better? His bishop is much better than mine. My proud center is completely blockaded on the light squares. I do not have an attack. Would not surprise me at all if black was just substantially better here. After knight f6, knight g8. I would like to give better vibes, but I'm not good enough of a player to have good vibes. Just depressing. Oh well. What did I do wrong? I have no idea. I shall figure this out later. c6. I mean, might as well. Knight d5 is coming in any case. Might as well stabilize the knight first once more. Now I'm definitely never playing d5. On the other hand, I now sort of have a hook after a3 b4. Previously I had no target. Now I might have a3 b4 b5 at some point. Or even a4 b4. Maybe I don't, because the queen casts the light squares from d7 as well. Yeah, what do? Knight c3, knight e4. I can't do that because f4 is still hanging, so knight c3, knight d5, g3, h4. I still don't care about. Yeah, I'm losing on time. But at least I'm also losing on the board. Getting outplayed very badly here. There might be b5 coming when I can't really go back because of queen knight a2. But maybe I just go to b3. It's not a big deal. And I say thank you for weakening your queen side. Do I say that? Who knows? I have to make moves. So I just make moves. I'm stupid, the knight defends a2. Oh boy. Why do I always play like 1500? Black gifted me 2 tempi in the opening and followed up with like nondescript, rather passive development, and I managed to put 0 pressure the entire game. Sadness. I guess I'm going knight e4, knight c5 or something. Pretend that does something, which I assume it doesn't. As none of my moves were any good anyway, maybe I should really just make them quickly, since thinking is worthless, then I might as well play fast. If I can't put pressure on the board, at least I should be putting pressure on the clock, instead of being in time trouble by move 17. Oh, I can't actually do what I wanted to do the entire game. After knight d5, g3, they just go knight e3. And it's the same fork. Oh my god. Good thing they are thinking here for a while. If they had played knight d5 quickly, I would have played g3 quickly and just dropped my exchange. Honestly, no idea what they're thinking about. Maybe they blundered something else on top when they're calculating that. Unbelievable. I saw this fork and played rook c1 to avoid it. And then missed this fork, which, oh yeah, this is raw talent on display. So after knight d5, I guess I'm just forced to take the knight, because I can't defend f4 and e3 at the same time by any other means. Oh my god. Why am I like this? Of the 25 spectators, I would guess like 20 would be able to play a better game than I did here in 3+2. And spend less time. Just depressing. Yeah, there's nothing else to say. I'm not sure why they're thinking about knight d5. Their position must be quite good if I'm forced to take on d5. And I don't really see anything else, although I suppose that doesn't mean a whole lot. More ads. Oh hey, the clocks are sort of fixed. I guess they're just messed up before the game starts. That's something. So what could they be thinking about that isn't knight d5? b5? I'm not sure what that does, other than weaken the queen side. Just some nondescript bishop e7 or so, waiting for me to make a move. I'm not quite sure what move I would make then. Maybe like rook fd1 or something. Of course I would play rook d1, so I can stay in this fork. What would I play after bishop e7? g3. So after knight d5 I don't have to take anymore. Rook d8. That's odd looking. So is the point that they plan knight d5, knight takes d5, queen takes d5, queen takes d5, rook takes d5, not recapturing with either pawn, but instead playing against d4? Makes some amount of sense. I feel like I always have enough defenders around. Who knows? Certainly makes some sense on principle. So I would like to go knight e4, but then knight d5 again. And again I'm hanging f4 and e3. And I can't defend both. So that's not valid. Maybe the goal is to trap me, because they expect me not to have seen this. Which would be very fair, because I don't see shit. So always assume I'm not seeing anything. would really like some amount of active play, but I have nothing to do. I can't move the knight from f3 because it hangs the d4 pawn. Bishop has no squares anyway. Knight on c3 can't move because I need to take on d5. My queen has nothing to do anywhere on the board. My rook on c1 is okay. Okay, it doesn't do anything, but where else would it go? My rook on f1 is a bit silly. But not like terrible silly, just has nothing to do. What I mean, it doesn't have anything to do anywhere. So maybe I'm just going g3. Then I don't have to take on d5 anymore. And can go king g2 or something. Stabilize my kingside. Figure out the rest later. What do I do then after g3, knight d5? Rook e1? Might as well. Oh, I mean, in worst case I take then g3 is probably not a terrible move. Yeah, whatever. Just terrible. Alas, what can you do? Is someone saving the chat, by the way? Would be curious about the measure of lessons they can get here from people on how to actually do anything. This is not part of the stuff I'm prepping. Because I should just be able to get a solid advantage here without any prep. Except apparently I'm shit, so I don't. What did I do to you, Erin? Can't you beat me with a good opening? At least they are also in time trouble for some reason. I mean, they're using their time well and actually playing moves that make sense. As in, their time management is also bad, but at least they're getting something out of it. Is this game over by now? No, they're still playing. Chuck is down a piece. That's not good. Knight d5 played. I assume rook e1 is what I sort of have to do. Okay, I can still take on d5, but I mean the whole idea was to avoid doing that, if possible. If I go to e1 and they go bishop b4 and I go a3 and they take and I take, then the b file is at least open, so I have something to work with. And the d4 pawn is quite secure. So that's probably not what they want. So yeah, let's cover e3. Blunder a different fork somewhere because I'm guaranteed to. I don't see anything, so...
Soll ich dir für unseren Surftrip auch ein neues Brett bei eBay holen?
Nein.
Eins aus der Vorsaison?
Nein.
So yeah, my position is bad and I have no time on the clock. Erin's position is quite good, but at least they also don't have time on the clock. So it's something, maybe. I go knight e4 and then I have nowhere to go from there, but at least I can pretend the knight on e4 is nice. I do think they should have played knight d5 earlier, instead of this rook d8 first. But who knows? This should also just be good for black. Dominating every single light square on the board, while I am stuck with this bishop looking at the dark square pawn chain. Meanwhile their bishop is ripe with future potential. This would be a pretty good position for white. If I had the bishop on d3, black had the bishop on c8. Ideally this rook is still on a8. That's what you should be getting. But that's not what I got. So maybe I should have done this just full-blown g4 nonsense instead of playing natural moves. Because if I don't mate by move 20, I'm just not good enough. I'll have to switch to digital board soon, since the time is running quite low. And like when I have 2 minutes, I'm not doing stuff on the real board anymore. So then I can draw my arrows maybe. Not that it will help much, because I have no insights in this position. I don't know what I should be doing, don't know what I should have been doing. I don't like any of my pieces. Not great. A3, b4, b5. At least now the knight on c3 covers the b5 square. So maybe I can open something up that way. Drops the a3 pawn. Might be worth it if I can take on c6. At least that's some degree of activity. a3, bishop e7, b4, short castles, b5. Bishop takes a3, b takes c6, b takes c6. Bishop b4, after all. I thought black doesn't want this. Maybe the intent isn't to take on c3, but instead go a3, bishop a5, b4, bishop b6 and increase the pressure on d4. It wouldn't be ridiculous, but it does make me play a3, b4 with tempo. And as we just established, that's my plan anyway. I might be reasonably happy there. If I then play b5, takes. Also then if the bishop isn't there anymore, I have knight e4, knight d6 stuff for real, or knight e4, knight c5 stuff for real. Okay, I just go a3. I don't have time to muse over this too much. I think black doesn't really want to take on c3. Am I stupid? a3, knight takes c3. I should at least consider. I then take b takes c. Black has bishop a takes a3. But I just go rook a1. I'm not too bothered. Collect a7. Yeah, I still see nothing. The pawn on a3 will always be weak, but if the queen side opens up at all, at least I have some play here. And maybe here in the future. So I'm happy about any sort of play that I can get. After knight takes c3, maybe I'd also just have queen b4 or something. But presumably I don't want that. So yeah, my idea is knight c3, b3, bishop takes a3, rook a1, bishop has to retreat. Okay, queen e7 is legal, but then I just go queen b3 or something and the bishop has to retreat anyway. Actually can't retreat anymore, that will cost them the bishop. So after rook a1 the bishop has to go back to e7 or whatever. And then I take on a7 and threaten b7. And I'm happy, I suppose. I feel like bishop b4 was a mistake, since like a3, b4, b5 was the only active plan I had to begin with. And now either this invites me to do it with tempo, which is nice, or they take on c3, give up a bishop, which isn't nice to begin with, even if the position is relatively closed. Plus of course the b file opens, and d5 isn't an outpost anymore. So after bishop takes c3, b takes c3, I might just have some future potential of going like queen d3 and then c4 to budge the knight away. So maybe what's best here would be knight takes c3, b takes c3, bishop e7, not even taking on a3. Just saying, okay, you can't really take b7, I defend that easily. Bishop e7 back directly without even taking first. That's also legal, of course, but since a3, b4 was my plan anyway, I think I'm very happy about that wasted tempo. Knight e4 might still not be illegal, but isn't necessary, I assume. So I want b4, black does something. I go b5. Bishop takes a3, b takes c6, queen takes c6, queen takes c6, b takes c6. I move my knight, for example, to e4, attack c6. Wait, no, my rook is hanging in that line. Dang. a3 hanging is a bigger issue than I wanted it to be. Well, okay, b4 is correct anyway, I believe. Maybe I don't push b5 quite that early and instead go like knight e4, knight c5 first to ask some other questions. b5 should always be right, unless this knight, okay, this knight can't be hanging since it's always defended more than enough. It does mean that this knight can take here, and this becomes a real permanent weakness. If I go knight e4 now, and they can't take.
YouTube Music. Jetzt die App herunterladen.
Even more
YouTube
ads.
Music Premium kostenlos testen. Es
I
gibt
apologize for the ads. Knight e4, knight b6. Knight b6 doesn't go anywhere. So I just go back a bit. Where does my knight e4 go? Oh, I don't really have a future for that. I don't know where it's going, but I also don't know what else to do. King f8. Was that intended? I assume it was, but I still asked in chat whether they intended to castle. If they're gonna tell me it was a mouse slip, I can give them the take back. But they're not saying anything, so I think I just wasted a minute. Knight c5, now bishop c5 is perhaps suboptimal a bit. Why am I not going b4 here? Good question. Just go b4. So yeah, I just wasted essentially a minute offering them a take back in case this was castled and not king f8 and got no reply. Sad life. Knight b6. Yeah. But I felt like I'm not too concerned overall. Just go somewhere where the queen still defends. Maybe that's easier said than done. Also in the background there's like church bells ringing. I don't know if you hear that. Well, let me close the window. The queen doesn't actually have to defend this. What am I saying? Knight takes, queen takes, bishop takes. I'm quite happy. So my queen can go anywhere on the board. Then staying on the light squares makes sense, I believe. Oh, queen d5. So maybe I should have gone to c2 instead. So this wouldn't be an issue. Is this an issue? What happens if I just take it and go knight c5? That's actually a very good question. What happens if I take this and go knight c5? I assume they take back with a knight. Okay, that's a bit annoying. Then knight c5. There's always b6. And I'm not doing much. So what if I don't take? Instead go like queen c2 now. But then I should really have gone the last move. Or even to d3. So I feel like I should be taking on d6 just out of principle, because I hate admitting mistakes. Let's go with that. I don't admit mistakes. This was all intended. Okay, I guess I have under 3 minutes, so I moved my real board out of the way. They took with the e-pawn, okay. Now I'm completely confused. Am I not just winning a pawn after knight c5? Okay, they can take it with the bishop. Which is fair enough. But I can definitely go knight g5. They're not really getting rid of that knight there. Plus I'm threatening e6. Okay, there's also knight c4 coming. Okay, for a start they have to react to this. As e6 is a threat. So who knows what's going on now. I guess knight c3 never really threatens anything. Knight c4 never really threatens anything because I just go rook c3. And the knight doesn't actually have anywhere to go. Apologies, that was my keyboard. I had moved it out of the way to make room for the board, but as I'm now at the digital board anyway, I might as well switch back. Okay, what else is going on? Knight. Where does the knight go? Oh, 8. Where's my pre-move removed? Do I even want to pre-move this? Do I ever want to take with the f-pawn? I assume not. Okay, so yeah, I do want to pre-move this. The knight c4 is never actually an issue because I go rook c3.
Joko, hast du mir ein Paket geschickt?
More ads.
Weißt du nicht gar nicht.
Doch, aber meine...
Knight h6. Okay. Now if I go e6, they have f6. Makes sense. But does feel like I made some sort of... I gained something. Some sort of progress, that's what I meant. Can I just do some minority attack now? Going rook b1 or rook a1 even, and pushing the b pawn. Can I even just push b5 here? b5, bishop takes a3, rook a1, bishop b4, rook b1. This looks too annoying. But if there wasn't bishop a3, then b5 takes, rook c7 might be quite good. So maybe I just go rook c3 here. Preempting. Well, if knight c4 happens, I'm not really pushing anything ever, am I? I still have rook b1 there, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. Let's go here. Put the rook on a decent square where it can go to either wing. Now I sort of have to watch out for some bishop takes. Like obviously not here, but maybe there's some point where the knight can sack and then the bishop takes and he gets 2 pawns and the rook for 2 pieces and these become passes. That's something I have to be somewhat aware of. What about f5? If knight takes, then e6. And I'm still saying I'm collecting an exchange here. It doesn't really look stupid. Of course, we could easily argue that in this position the knights are stronger than the exchange, but I'm also getting some squares like knight e5, which I ideally need. f5, f6, I always give here this. This would be a good time to have time rather than flagging. I think this looks good, so I'm just gonna play it. I don't have the time to figure anything out. which is of course because I wasted all my time earlier in the game for absolutely no reason, while not even getting anything out of it. So caused these issues myself. This is more my chess, just do stuff. Maybe it doesn't work, maybe this is a terrible move and I'm losing now, but at least I'm doing stuff. So I'm basically ecstatic right now. There were some points during the game where I felt like I'm not gonna be making an active move ever again. And there it is, an active move. Haha. Very happy. I hope it doesn't get refuted in one ply. But it is a move. G6? That can't be right. Worst case I just take, right? Yeah, you can't take back because of knight e6. So g6 doesn't work, f6. I still just get this, knight takes, I go e6, pawn takes, I fork. Knight takes e6, f6, knight f7, I do another fork. This time actually threatening to win a whole rook. And have some other ideas. Of like takes, bishop takes, and pushing e7 perhaps in the future even. I think I'm winning something here, maybe? Oh, they just ignored it. That was not calculated. I somehow forgot they could just ignore this. I'm not actually threatening anything. There's still f6 and nothing changed. If I go here, then they take, and I didn't gain anything. Well, that's a bummer. It looked so nice for one move. Now it's stupid again. I wanna make moves. Why can't I make moves? No idea, I'm just gonna play random shit. King g2 is great, right? Get your king active. This guy's still hanging. Maybe I... Whoops, I almost moved my knight. I was... Oh right, the thing that I was trying to watch out for, I didn't watch out for at all. Actually, can I just go f6 here? Takes, takes, bishop takes, then I take here. I don't know if that accomplishes anything, but at least it means I'm not losing. So let's... Does it mean that? I might still be losing. I could go like rook b1 or something, but that's too passive. I'm not a fan. At all. So yeah, I guess I'm doing this. What a stupid game. Take. I just go like rook here and pick up both pawns, I assume. But at least I could pretend for one move that I'm doing something. I would really like to do something with this knight. It just has no squares. And conversely, it means that I can't move this knight because then this guy is hanging. So maybe I have to play h4, so I can at least play knight e5. It's so funny that I even mentioned that I should be watching out for bishop b4 stuff, and then I just didn't. Oh my. So stupid. Check. Takes. Rook takes. Black does literally any move. White resigns. Could be better. Maybe h4 is forced. Bishop e3. Does not look right at all. Maybe they can even just say, haha, I go bishop e7. What did you accomplish? I'm still playing b4 next move. Looks like a fair argument. The problem wasn't solved at all. It was like delayed for one ply or something. Yeah, and this is all stupid. I'm pretty much dead lost. None of my pieces make sense. Rook has no squares. This rook has no squares on a rank. It's nice to be on a file, but what the rook really needs is a square to enter a rank on. And these are no squares. So, while my rook is on the e-file, black is actually the one who dominates it. It's pretty much useless to be on the e-file. This bishop is obviously dead. This knight can't move because this knight is hanging, and this knight can't move because it has no squares. What? Did I blunder something? I mean, I have to take this anyway, so let's worry about whether I blundered something later. Why was this taken? I thought just bishop e7 wins. I mean, this might also win. I wouldn't be surprised at all, but I am confused. Don't I have some idea of play now with rook f3? I mean, maybe that isn't an idea of play, but it does nothing or whatever, but at least I can pretend, right? Check, takes, check, king here, I resign. Rook here, there's f5 maybe is the idea, but then I definitely have pretenses of squares. So I will assume it was a mistake, and I'm pseudo-threatening something now. Which might not be true, but like, I don't know, rook f6 is a square. Knight e6 is a square. And up till now, like literally one move ago, none of my pieces had any squares. Now, two of my biggest issues, that I can't move these knights, and that this rook has no square where it does anything, were solved for me, and black gave up their rather strong bishop for it. So I'm not sure what this accomplished. Maybe they just calculated that this wins, which again wouldn't surprise me if it did, but at least I can be like active for one move now. So that's something. Check king h, king g8, knight somewhere. I would really like to do something with my knight. Maybe knight d8, so I can take here. Not ridiculous. Or I start with rook f6. But then I think there's king g7. Oh wait, is there king g7 at all? If I go here, I check here, I take this. Am I threatening something? Doesn't really feel like I'm threatening anything. Checking here. Knight here, rook takes. My rook then goes to f6. Maybe. I have no idea. Why are all my moves so nondescript? I just want to go some g4 and be able to play bishop h4. To have that piece playing at all. Maybe check and retreat here and attack this and threaten knight f6 check, which I'm not sure it does anything. I don't know, I'm just gonna give a check for now. Okay, check here definitely never does anything. I guess I'm going here. I mean, after they take here and I take here, I'm actually just one pawn down. And this guy is quite weak. Well, these are super far from the action, so maybe that is even just playable. No big rook f6 counterplay mating ideas, just say, okay, you can take your rook here. I'm gonna go here, take this, collect this as well, because all your pieces are stupid. Not a terrible idea. I hope. I shall add that disclaimer. Whether it isn't not a terrible idea is probably not my place to judge. But it feels like it should work. Okay, 6 I just take here. And like, I'm threatening to do something like this. And if the knight defends, I can bring my rook in to attack d5 a second time. Might be knight d2. Not quite sure what it does, but at least it attacks my rook. What a stupid game.
Mit der neuen Musikstreaming-App von YouTube kannst du dir nicht nur offizielle Songs anhören, sondern dir auch gleich die Videos dazu ansehen. Jetzt die YouTube Music.
Okay, I'm not sure what difference that makes. Actually, they take here, now I just take back. Knight takes, I go knight b4 right away. Attacking this. They have to go passive. I'm happy. Knight c2 is unavailable. And I'm coming in rook e5 next. Looks legit. I think I'm just getting my pawn back. I rook here and I go rook e5 and whatever. Then this pawn might actually be quite good, because these are both really weak. These are also not optimally placed. And if I ever manage to push d5, actually this bishop gets a game again. You would not believe it. I really don't understand the decision to take on g5. Feels wrong. So many spectators, so few viewers on Twitch. Very disappointing. Okay. That's fair. They take and they take and they take. We get some really stupid ending that I don't want to play. Most of all, however, we get rook d8. And again, there's two pieces hanging. We do have rook e5. When like knight c4, rook takes, king g6, g4, holds it together somewhat. There's also knight d5, knight c2. This time actually supporting the advance of the pawn. I really just want to offer draw because I hate this game. And I feel like I played it absolutely terrible the entire way through. But, okay, I'm gonna try to power through it. No promises what I'm doing if they ever offer draw though. I sort of want to be done with this. I could also just... oh no, I can't go back because then indeed knight f6 is coming. So I'm sort of forced to take this. Then rook d8 directly. Huh. I take, then rook d8. My knight is hanging, I have to move it. Then they take here. I lose the pawn again. Is there something I can do about that? Maybe just some knight c3 stuff. Attacking this. I'm going with b1 after. I can go maybe here and I have a fork. Or whatever, I'm running out of time, just take stuff. So my plan right now is rook d8, I go knight e7. And I'm threatening, like, if they do this take, I'm collecting the rook on f5. And if they don't do that, I have time to go knight f5 maybe anyway, or maybe knight c6, or maybe just d5 or something. If not rook d8, what else would they do? Why are there so many ads? Rook d8 is played. Is there a downside to what my plan is? Presumably. Usually there are downsides to my plans. King f6 or something, but that doesn't really threaten anything. I guess it threatens to take, whatever. And then I have time for bishop g1. Just getting out of the way. Do I have a different, cooler fork? Different attack? I could maybe just go to f4 and attack this. I assume they're much better off with a far pass than them. So yeah, no idea. I'm going knight e7. Looks good. I'm saying I might just push d5 next. But this pawn still is a concern, to put it lightly. The good thing is it currently can't move because I got knight c6 and it just drops off. So knight e7 is useful for that as well. It could be knight c2. Like if I go rook d1, then they play b4. Because this time the pawn is defended. And it becomes sort of a race of what's going on. This guy is already sort of stopped. Sort of, who knows? But I have my forking trick still. If the king stays on g7, I get to push it all the way to d6, since like rook d6, knight f5 is still a fork. That would be something, maybe. Sadly, they play the moves I expect. Hey, I can't go here because they have their own fork. That's not good. That's not good. I also take with check, so I can't just counter like this. So okay, now I have to find a good square for my rook. What happens if I go here? Who knows? So the idea is if they take my bishop, I just take this knight. And then the guy on f2 is still hanging. Taking here is obviously unavailable because still takes, and knight f5 check. I feel like I play better on increment than when I think about moves for 10 minutes. Sometimes I blunder a tactic here, but all my moves make some sort of sense at least. When I have too much time on the clock, I just think for 20 minutes and do some hot shit. And with hot shit, I mean like hot garbage. I like this move, unless it gets refuted next ply. But for now it looks good. It's obviously unavailable. Can do something like this, but they just take here, I don't care. b-pawn is gonna drop. And then the 2 against 2 I can offer draw. Litchuk ended up losing against Jero. So it's 4-3 for us. If I manage to hold this to a draw, we win the match. If I don't, we don't. Knight just heads back. Wait, that's not actually where it came from. I'm stupid. What happens if I go here now? I guess they go here and attack this bishop a second time, which is a bit annoying. Now I can just go bishop g1 and take out all these problems altogether, no? I think. I hope. Let's try. No more threats. Actually, king f6 might be a threat. What's that? Is that a threat? That doesn't look like a threat. Takes. And my piece is sort of stuck. On the other hand, it takes a long while for the knight to attack this. But I don't want stuck pieces. I had enough of that this game. I'm just gonna go somewhere. I don't know, here? Elsewhere? Am I losing an exchange again? I think not. I'm losing on time. That's not much better. This is a good move, I'm afraid. I'm not quite sure how to respond to this. But the idea is they go there, I go here, and if they take, then I take, and there's all this stuff lined up. If they don't take, then at least I win a tempo and maybe can use that for something. And I have to go like knight f6, which is maybe also not where I wanted to go. But who knows? Do I even want to take with the rook? It also makes sense to take with the e-pawn. So I can finally play with this guy. takes knight, not on any of these squares. Knight c3, I guess. And I win this pawn, but then b4. And d5. Here the bishop d4 check might just hold it, but it sure doesn't look comfortable. So I guess I have to think about this again. I mean, the alternative is not much better. Maybe I should have thought about this before. This pawn is really fast. Knight e4, knight e5, de5, and just like b4. What do I actually do? Wait, what? That's even meaner. That's not playing fair. Okay, so I take on g4, that corrects their whatever pawn structure. And then I go like rook e5. They go like b3 and I take, and they go like b2 and I can hold it. Can I? I can. But that's very much on knife's edge. If I go h3 and they take, and I take, and they go b3. H3 at least doesn't fix the pawn structure. So let's do that for now. I hope I had the time for this. If not, I had the big problem anyway. My goal basically is we trade these. I go bishop d4, then I play e6. Take this off, then I go like g4 and hopefully they trade, and then I can just sack the bishop on b2 or something. None of that happened. Also fine. I wasn't asking for it anyway. Okay, let's keep pushing then. I saw the exchanges up to here. I can't see all of them because I'm shit. Every fucking game. Every fucking game. It's a queen too. They go up, they take, I take, they go here. How am I gonna stop it? With knight d3. Look here. King here, takes. Okay, that just works. Why am I so fucking shit at this game? It's unbelievable. If I don't win out of the opening in 15 moves, it's impossible for me not to blunder. What a joke. What the fucking junk. Rook check. Followed by b2. Check, I go here. And they just take, you take back, knight takes, to win another pawn. I can't ever get in these. Can go rook g2. I can also start with this, it's all pointless. Maybe I can somehow collect this pawn, but I'm not getting to that one. Just not going to happen. Maybe I should have given the check and then gone bishop here. I guess it doesn't make a difference. The problem is I would really like to play knight c5, but then they just play b2. And the bishop is overloaded. So getting to some sort of defensive setup takes a lot longer than it should. I should definitely have done this. At least then the black king couldn't just approach. Now I have nothing to just stop king d6. Bishop c5 instead of bishop d4. I'm also dead lost. But at least maybe it's a bit harder for black. I miss one ply tactics, it's so stupid. Why can't I play a game of chess without blundering all my pieces? If I do this, they take, attack back. And I can't stop it. Okay, good thing I didn't play bishop c5, because it doesn't work at all. I was lucky. If I had gone king f3 earlier, would that have been useful? If I go king f3 here, oh no, the knight can still go back here. So not useful. Actually, king f3 here, if they go to f6, I have like d6 check, and maybe I win this. Probably I don't. But at least it's like dangerous looking. So I guess I'm doing that since the king is useless anyway. Who knows? Feels like here's at least still some room to blunder. Maybe they just play f5. But that should then create chances of me actually collecting this pawn. So stupid. The position was so fine. There was like no reason for anything. I don't know, worst case I go like king f3 or something. Black doesn't have much. This pawn walks, it's just weak. Whatever, I'm too lazy to calculate at this point. Okay, I'm too lazy to calculate at all points, let's be honest. But I'm especially too lazy now. So they can go up and I go here and then they can go up again. And then I didn't actually win a piece. Because that would be too much to ask for. Do I have different tricks? I can get this check instead, and I would perhaps be threatening that stuff, but they can just take again on c5 and I'm not stopping the b7 pawn. I can go like king f4 and do absolutely nothing with it. Would be lovely if I managed to create a threat anywhere on the board. But it is too much to ask for. Would not be deserved for me to get a threat in this position. Oh, I don't know. Go here. And now I can go like to b2 maybe. Let's say, haha, your knight doesn't have many great squares. And then they go rook c2, and you notice my bishop has not many great squares either. Maybe I just go back and try to get my bishop here and push this pawn or something. But how would they ever push it? As soon as I leave, they play knight d5, covering the square. Not happening. Maybe I can go like here and push it with the knight support instead. It's unlikely. Yeah, no idea. I guess I'm just going back. I'm pretending I achieved a whole lot. Sadly, I achieved nothing. Nothing. Well, okay, if they go here, I can go here, that goes down, then I play like knight c5. And I attack this pawn and I protect my pawn and I stop the black king from returning. Oh, that's not ridiculous. Maybe. So they don't go up. Makes sense. Maybe I should have expected that. No idea what I'm doing. No, guess move my king towards something. Not sure yet what that something is. Oh. It's moving my king towards losing my pawn. Somehow I forgot even they could play this now. When does the stupidity end? The answer is never. Was a trick question. I can't even ever get this pawn now. It just takes, I go like here and I defend it with knight c5. Or go rook c2 first and then knight c5 after. So fucking lost. One of these days I will cross 1500, but today is not that day. Why even? Why even? Not that it matters, but why even? What's the point? Troll me more.
Ungestörter Musikgenuss. Offline, mit Hintergrundwiedergabe und ganz ohne Werbeanzeigen? Die neue Musikstreaming-App von YouTube macht's möglich. Jetzt YouTube Music herunterladen und YouTube Music Premium kostenlos testen. Es gelten Einschränkungen.
Everything loses. Oh, there's Roxy too. That loses even harder than everything else. So fucking stupid, all of this. I wanted to go here, expecting b2, and then maybe they pre-move takes on a1. Well, that even comes with check, so even that wouldn't help. Not that it would help anyway, because okay, even if I were to queen, that would be like queen or rook d1. And I'm dropping the queen. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna stalemate. Probably. How do I set up a stalemate in this position? Can't even set up a stalemate. Why is my king not on a1 or something? Too many squares. Yeah, okay, I'll trust them that they can do this.